The speed limit is 90 kilometres per hour. Didn't you see any signs?
No, I didn't. I was in a bit of a state, you know. Tired. I've been travelling a long time.
Why didn't you stop?
I guess I panicked.
Let's see your licence. Sandra Bates.
Yeah.
Hey, I know you. You're on the Wentworth 6.
I say, will you do shut up? We're not going to die in this stinking train. We are not going to die. We're going to get out of here. We're going to get out. I'm not going to let you die here. I'm going to get you out. I'm going to get you out. We're not going to die. We're not going to die. We're not.
No talking, Gaffney.
When are you bastards gonna feed me? You gonna starve me, are you? You take a mongrel?
Will you shut up, Ken, or you get nothing at all?
Have a heart, Mr. Fletcher?
You okay?
You'll be better than
How are the others? Doreen and Bea and Lizzie.
I thought Doreen was with you.
She was. Then Lizzie turned up and then Bea.
You all get out okay?
No, part of the roof caved in.
Oh, no.
And Jude and me were on the far side, but Bea, Lizzie and Doreen got caught on the inside.
What about Irene?
The rocks fell on her.
Bad?
She's dead.
Poor bloody Irene.
Well, that's why I thought Bea and the others would have come back up.
Well, I haven't seen them.
They must have found some other way out. There's a whole set of drains down there.
Well, good luck to them.
I was only pulling Margo's leg, Mr. Fletcher. Honest.
We'll see if Mrs. Davidson believes you.
But I don't know what happened to Bea and the others. I thought they was in here. Judy and me was the only ones to get out.
Down the drainage system, wasn't it? Well, you're going to show us where it is.
Well, if I do tell you what I know, will you let me out of the pound?
No deals, Trapp.
Oh, then you can find it for yourselves.
There's a dead woman down there, or don't you care?
Oh, I'm not going to do her much good finding her now.
How about giving her a decent funeral then?
Someone's been killed, haven't they?
Be quiet.
It's B. Smith, isn't it? It's B. Smith. She deserved to die. They shouldn't touch her grave. I buried her for you, Megan. They're killing you. Don't tell them where she is. Let her stay there. She's dead. Let her stay there.
Why do they call you Mouse?
Because I can get in and out of small places real fast, and my last name's Trapp.
I see. All right, Trapp. If you'll tell us where this manhole is, I won't be so hard on you.
You might as well. The others will be well away by now.
Okay, but only because Irene ought to have a proper funeral and nothing else.
Good girl.
Thank you, Mr. Fletcher. Would you organise the search? I'll advise the police.
Come on, Trapp.
See that she loses 2 months' remission, Mrs. Davidson. And I take it you're not thinking of releasing the women once the escape route's been found? I want them kept in confinement until I consider they've learned their lesson.
The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. Yea, though I walk in the shadow of the valley of death, I shall fear no evil.
Oh, God, Lizzie, shut up, please. Please, shut up.
What was that? Did you hear anything? You don't reckon there's rats down here, do you?
Oh, I'll fix them. Little mongrels.
Can you see anything?
No. You must have been dreaming.
I hate being in the dark, Lizzie.
Yeah, it would be better if we had some light. I think I've got an idea. Here, you hold those. Just a minute. Tear off a bit of my costume. Yeah. Let's see if this all work.
thirsty, Lizzie.
Oh, we'll be okay in a minute.
What do you mean we'll be okay? Can't you feel it? I'm running out of air.
Oh, come on.
Suffocate.
Bee, that's one thing we're not short of, the air, even if it is a bit stale.
I'm running out, I tell you. I can feel it. I don't want to stay here to suffocate. Give me that.
What are you doing?
There's got to be another way out of here. There's just got to be.
When we came down, this is the only way.
I'm not staying here to suffocate. There's just got to be another way out.
Come back, Bee. You'll get lost in all them twists and turns.
Stay away from me, Lizzie. I'm warning you. Keep away from me. We're not going to die in here. No, we're going to die out here.
Oh, don't leave us, Bee.
Come back, Bee.
We're never going to get out of here, Lizzie.
What do you mean you're not sure?
Well, it didn't look like this the last time I saw it. It's been covered up.
You don't know who did it?
No, sir.
All right. Come on, let's get into it.
I know you've got to have rules, Mr. Gillespie. And I don't blame you for being strict with all their mothers. But we had nothing to do with it. And, well, I just want to ask you a little favour. Well, it's not for me, really. It's for my daughter. See, she's 1 year old tomorrow. And I just thought I'd like to do something special, like a party in the garden. Oh, I know it's out of bounds at the moment, but you can't hold that against a little toddler.
A 1-year-old doesn't know the meaning of birthdays. We can't afford officers to stand over you and a tribe of children.
What are my kids going to do?
The escape happened during a pantomime for children. I'd say that proves the point.
Please, sir. I'm not going to be able to have her for very much longer anyhow. And I just think it's really important that she should have a first birthday party.
Welfare are meant to collect the child when it's 12 months old, aren't they?
Sometimes they leave it for a week or two, depending how busy they are. And then they usually give us a week's notice, as they haven't done yet.
I'll give them a ring. Make sure they come tomorrow.
No. No, not tomorrow. Well, that's too soon. You can't do that.
With your record, I'm surprised you got the gall to ask for anything.
What are you talking about? Ever since I had Elizabeth, I've kept me record as clean as a whistle.
Latham's up in front of the parole board within a month.
So what? I've shown everyone here that I've kept myself together. I just want to get out for Elizabeth so she's not stuck in that home longer than she needs be.
I only needed a reminder. I knew Mr. Jackson quite a few years ago. You committed one of the worst crimes in the book, murdering a staff member. As far as I'm concerned, you shall be serving a life sentence. And the sooner that child's taken away from you, the better.
You bastard!
Latham!
What's the delay?
I was pretty well covered, but it's right now.
That's what she was doing.
I beg your pardon?
I caught Griffin out here yesterday. She said she was burying her daughter's killer.
Why on earth didn't you tell me?
Well, I thought it was just another ploy to have us believe she's not responsible for her actions. And all the time she was covering up evidence of the escape. Well, I'd say this proves once and for all she's well and truly in control of her faculties.
How you feeling, Dor?
My leg's hurting again.
Better give it a rub to keep the blood going.
You know, Lizzie, I don't think Bee's going to come back.
Of course she will.
She's never run out on us before. She'd have to be real scared to do that. I'm glad we're together. I don't want her to die up there on her own.
Oh, we're not finished yet, you know. Here. Have one of these. Oh, come on, Dor, it'll do you good. I never saw you say no to a lolly before.
Do you believe in God, Lizzie?
Oh, yeah.
Do you reckon that there's a heaven up there somewhere?
Of course there is.
Well, I hope he lets us stay together.
We'd have to promise that we wouldn't get into so much strife.
We wouldn't have to up there if it's as nice as everybody says it is. Lizzie, You know that poem you were saying to me before? Well, that sounded real good. You reckon you could tell it to me again?
I don't know if I can remember it. It's been a real long time. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside still waters. He restoreth my soul and maketh me to walk in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, even though I walk in the shadow of the valley of death, I shall have no fear, for thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff. Door! 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 I remember when you first came to Wentworth, Door. You weren't even 17, just a little whippersnapper. They said they couldn't look after you in the girls' home, so they sent you to prison before your time. I knew you wasn't tough. All you needed was someone to love you. Don't leave me now, Door. Not now, Door.
It's Door. She's not... Me!
God, Lizzie's still down here.
Don't let her die! Don't let her die! Oh, thank God, thank God.
She's still alive.
Take care of Lizzie, will you? Anything broken?
Oh, that doesn't look like it.
Oh, fine, baby. You can't leave her down.
Where is she, Lizzie?
I'll go and look for her. Trapp, you stay with me and show me the way back.
Don't leave me down here, please.
When are they going to let me out?
When they let the others out, which mightn't be for some time.
But I haven't done anything. If I have to stay in here much longer, I'll...
You'll what? Go mad? Come on, Griffin. Isn't it about time you dropped this little act?
Have they found Bee's body yet?
What?
The tunnel. Bee's dead.
The only body down there is Irene's.
No, it can't be. I buried Bee myself.
Come on, Griffin. You're forgetting one thing. Dr. Weissman's report. There was nothing in it to say you're unfit to plead. You'll stand trial like anybody else who's committed a crime.
But I'm innocent.
On the grounds of insanity, no doubt.
No. Why do you say that? Just because I saw a psychiatrist once, that doesn't mean anything. Anyway, it's your fault. You said I attacked you and I didn't.
You've got Dr. Weissman to thank for keeping you out of solitary for that. But don't worry. I haven't forgotten. Oh, and by the way, you might be interested to know he's coming back to see you after he's done a bit of checking. Once he's satisfied himself there's nothing wrong with you, well, it won't be too late for a trip to solitary, will it?
What do you mean, checking?
With that family of yours, I suppose.
No, he can't do that.
Afraid he'll find out you've been lying again? Maybe they're not as important as you make out.
I've embarrassed them enough.
You call robbery with violence an embarrassment? No wonder they wiped you. Maybe the court can put a stop to that violent streak of yours.
Another dead end.
Birdsworth must have been hallucinating. Let's go back.
Listen.
Where's it coming from?
I realize you have such a long way to come, so if you would rather, we could send Irene's belongings on to you. Very well. And I am so very sorry, Mrs. Nagel. It was a most unfortunate accident. Goodbye.
Well, I'd say Smith's had enough of a shock to keep her out of trouble for quite some time.
We're very lucky they weren't all killed.
Yes, of course.
I see you have Latham's file out. What did she want?
She didn't know when her daughter was being taken away from her, so I took the liberty of ringing child welfare. They're collecting her tomorrow.
I see. And did you tell her that?
I told her I was arranging it. She was lucky I didn't report her for abusive language.
If you had, Mr. Gillespie, I assure you my sympathies would have been with Latham. You had no right to take that responsibility without advising me first. It had absolutely nothing to do with security. Come in.
The ambulance has just left.
And the others?
Well, Doreen's the worst, but the others are still in shock.
Did the doctors say they could be questioned?
As long as we don't put them under too much pressure.
I will question them myself, Mr. Gillespie.
But what about the rest of the prison? We can't keep them locked in cells forever.
Oh, another couple of days won't hurt. It'll teach them to think twice about escaping. Besides, if they're severely punished, they won't be quite so quick to follow Smith in the future.
The strain on the staff is enormous.
I agree. We've just finished taking away the breakfast trays, and we're going to have to start delivering the lunches in less than an hour. It's a full-time job for the officers, just supervising the meals.
Will you see that they are released at once, Mr. Fletcher? The garden will be off limits, however, until the entrance to the drains are sealed.
You're making a big mistake, Mrs. Davidson. Wentworth's already under the threat of a royal commission. I'd suggest you don't make things worse.
According to you, Mr. Gillespie, I seem to be making quite a few mistakes, so I doubt whether one more will matter. But I will not continue to punish the entire prison because of the actions of a few.
You know, that's the first real cuppa that I've ever enjoyed. I reckon I could get a taste for it.
What?
Oh, come on, Dor. We ought to be kicking up our heels. Oh, you had me worried there for a while. But I reckon someone up there must have thought that we'd be too much of a handful, eh?
Yeah. You know, I was just thinking, Teddy's still down there.
Well, we'll get you another one. Better Teddy than us.
At least Irene had company.
Yeah. Poor little kid.
Lay off, will you? Just shut up about it.
Oh, come on, Bea. Everybody gets frightened of something once in their lifetime. That's nothing to be ashamed of. Oh, Dor and me, we was frightened too, weren't we?
Yeah, I nearly chucked in the towel too, Bea. So don't worry, we won't tell anybody you were scared. You're still top dog in our book.
Oh, this is the life. I reckon I'm gonna stay here until they chuck me out.
Well, how are you all feeling?
My leg still hurts a bit, Mrs. Davidson.
Lizzie, are you all right?
I'm an old woman, Miss Bennett. I thought me old ticker was gonna play up on me there before. I'm still getting a bit of a twinge. Expect I'll have to stay here for a while longer. I hate being flat on me back, but I don't suppose I got any choice.
I didn't ask for a running commentary, Birdsworth.
You'd have been quite glad if I hadn't come out of that tomb alive.
Don't be ridiculous.
No doubt you are all aware that what you did was dangerous and stupid and resulted in Irene Nagel's death. At the moment, Bryant has not been caught. But if you know of her plans, I suggest you tell me now so that we can avoid any further tragedy.
You don't think the cops are going to shoot her, do you, Mrs. Davidson?
They regard her as dangerous, and if she becomes desperate...
What about help on the outside? Trapp was caught in a hired vehicle. Someone must have organised it for her.
Very well. You and Lizzie will both lose 2 months' remission.
And Doreen will have to face another charge of attempted escape when she goes to trial.
But I could get 18 months.
You should have thought of that before, Burns.
None of us would have made a move if it hadn't been for that SS officer you got here, Gillespie. Or haven't you bothered to read the note Judy left about why she wanted out?
Fair go, Mrs. Davidson. B wasn't trying to get out. She just came after me to stop me from going.
Ah, put a sock in it, Lizzie. They'll believe what they want to believe.
I'm convinced you all had the intention of escaping, unless you have some explanation as to why the entrance to the drain was covered over. Thank you, Miss Bennett.
None of this would have happened if someone hadn't tried to bury us in that hole.
Come on, Griffin.
Good to have some fresh air, eh? Must have been real awful in that tunnel for Bea and the others. They could have died down there and no one would know the difference.
Have they found her?
Yeah, no thanks to you. Why did you bury them alive?
I didn't. I was helping. I didn't want anyone to know how they'd escaped. I thought they'd get out with you like the others.
Come on, you two. Didn't you hear the lunch bell?
Miss Bennett! You there, Miss Bennett?
Hey, Chrissie, will you make sure Bea gets this?
What is it?
Just something she ought to know.
No, look, I don't want to get in no strife, Mouse.
You'll be in more strife if Bea doesn't get this note.
Come on, Miss Bennett!
Oh, it's about time. I'm starved.
Yeah, I reckon I could force something down myself.
Gee, thanks, Chrissie. How come they're letting you do this? Major trustee or something?
No, it's for the privilege of using the kitchens.
You're learning how to cook.
I'm going to make Elizabeth a birthday cake. It's her birthday tomorrow. I wish you could all come.
I forgot.
Yeah, we did have other things in our mind.
I haven't even got a present for her. She could have had Teddy, but she's not around anymore.
You give away your teddy.
I would to Elizabeth.
Never mind. We'll make her something when we get out of hospital.
It'll have to be tomorrow. They're taking her away from me then.
Oh, no.
Oh, the rotten bloody mongrels. They couldn't wait, could they? Never mind. Dawn mightn't be up to it, but I'll be there.
Oh, no, you won't, Birdsworth. You're sick, remember?
I'll be all right when I get something in my stomach.
You'll stay where you are until you're told otherwise.
I'm not hungry anymore.
Now get a move on, Latham. Come on.
Say goodbye to her from me, won't you?
Me too.
I am sorry, love.
What's it say, B?
It's from Mouse. When last seen, Judy okay. Oh, they split your money up, Doreen.
I don't care, just as long as she gets as far away from this bloody place as she can.
And I was right about Griffin.
But why would she want to kill us, B?
'Cause she's off her rocker, that's why.
Yeah, and the rotten screws are not going to do a thing about it.
It's her they should be locking up, not some poor little baby.
I'm going to kill her. For what she did to us, I'm going to kill her.
Oh, Miss Bennett. I must say I was a little surprised to find that you, of all people, were against keeping the women in cells.
Well, normally I'd agree with you, but at the moment we're so short-staffed. When Meg comes back tomorrow, that'll take a bit off our workload. I've supported you in every other area of security.
Yes, you're about the only person who has. I appreciate it.
Could I get you a cup of coffee?
Oh, you're on your way home.
No, it's no trouble.
Oh, thank you.
If Mrs. Davidson hadn't gone ahead with that pantomime, followed your advice, none of this would have happened. I've been after her for years to introduce tighter security. And as for that Latham business...
Yes, I can't understand why she's so lenient with some of the most violent women.
She thinks it's a way of rehabilitating them. But they use her every time. Ever since Latham, thank you, had that baby, she's done nothing but mollycoddle her. That's the only reason Latham wanted to keep it, you know. She knew it would mean making things easier in here, and she thinks it'll get the sympathy of the parole board.
Yes. The record like that, she's not going to change just because of the baby.
Exactly. It's amazing how people forget what she's in for. But the moment you start trusting them, well, the escape was a prime example. If the department knew that Mrs. Davidson wasn't following your advice, they might be able to do something.
Well, as a matter of fact, I'm seeing them tomorrow.
Of course, she is capable. It's probably just a question of being suited to a job a little less demanding.
When I get out of here, you know the first thing I'm going to do? And we're going to do it together. We're going to go out in the garden at night, and we're going to look up at the moon and the stars. Because you ain't never seen them from in here, have you? They always lock us up before they come out. But we will. We'll go out into the garden, and we'll stand there just as long as we want. And we'll count them all. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky.
Meg.
Hello, Vera.
I'm glad you're back.
Thanks.
No doubt you know the sort of trouble we've been having.
Well, I tried to stay right away from the news, but Bob had great delight in filling me in. I think he was trying to say, and you want to go back to that?
It's a pity he doesn't take your job more seriously.
May I have my keys, please, Wendy?
Certainly, Mrs. Morris.
Is Mr. Gillespie still here?
Yes, and he'd be doing a much better job if Mrs. Davidson didn't keep interfering. She's pushing her luck, Meg. There's even talk about a royal commission. I don't think much of her chances of staying on as governor.
Well, is there any good news? I mean, how are Doreen and Lizzie?
Oh, they're all right. And oh, by the way, it looks like Bryant will be caught soon. The police have checked the mileage on that hire truck they used. And going by the direction the Trapp was coming from, they've pinpointed the area.
Well, I hope she doesn't do anything too stupid.
Oh, it's a bit late for that.
Where are you going?
10 miles out of Melbourne, thereabouts.
Oh, sounds fine.
Get in.
Thanks.
Bit of a lonely spot to be hoofing it.
Yeah, well, I was out this way with a friend, you see. We had a bit of a fight, so I thought I'd better get out and walk. Stupid thing to do, I guess.
Do anything myself to avoid an argument. I've loved 5 women in my time, had 6 kids, but didn't marry any of them. I never fought with any of them.
How'd you manage that?
What, not fighting or not marrying?
Both.
I always believed that marriage was just for couples that didn't trust each other. And as for fighting, well, that took care of itself because I never married. Believe in everybody having their own freedom.
Yeah, so do I.
Bee! Ladies, a royal welcome for Queen Bee, if you don't mind. Yay!
You're all fools. She's responsible for most of you losing remission.
It was worth it, Miss Bennett, knowing the whole police force was tying themselves in knots when they were under their noses all the time.
Miss Bennett, I don't want to work in the laundry anymore, and I'm on remand. I don't have to.
All right, come with me. The rest of you can get back to work.
You can't go it alone, Bee.
It's my beef.
It's got to be another way.
We've tried other ways. We could all be killed down there because of her.
But you didn't. I know it was pretty hairy down there, but... Okay. They'll know it's you.
I'll wait for the right moment. I've waited before.
if you get caught, you'll never get out, you know that.
Not likely to get up here anyway.
Well, what do you think? Glad you took the time to have a look?
Oh, it's terrific. Everything you said it'd be. Really quiet and peaceful here, huh? You ever get lonely?
Lonely? How could you get lonely here? You got the birds, the animals, the bush. Who needs people?
Well, it's terrific.
Now, what about something to eat?
Oh, it's very kind of you. I don't mind if I do.
Oh, seeing as we're going to break bread together, I always think it's a good idea to know who you're breaking bread with.
Sure, Audrey Turner.
Albert Wallace. Well, that's just my professional name. People call me Wally. By the way, I'm vegetarian. I hope you weren't looking forward to a juicy steak. This ought to keep you going.
Yeah.
Everything's organically grown in my own garden. Make yourself at home.
You keep pretty much to yourself, don't you? No television, no telephone?
Don't need those things to keep in touch. Got my eyes, my ears.
Why'd you drop out?
Oh, insecticides, pesticides, industries, the rat race, politicians, you name it, I hated it. Couldn't fight it. Certainly wasn't going to join it, so here I am.
You know, for someone who doesn't like people much, you know a lot about them, especially women.
Didn't say I didn't like them, just don't need them. For somebody who asks a lot of questions, you don't say very much about yourself.
Well, for someone who says a lot about themselves, you don't ask much questions.
Like I said, I got my eyes, my ears. I'm what you might call an observer.
Really? And, what do you observe, Wally?
Well, I'd say you're a bit of a dropout yourself.
I couldn't fit the word birthday on it, love, but, well, I made it all by myself. What do you think about that?
I had a little girl once, Megan. She died when she was nearly 1. A cot death. Could I nurse her for a while, please? You're just as beautiful as Megan was. They wanted to punish me. I didn't have to take her away from me.
All right, you've got 5 minutes before you have to get back to work.
Let's get this party on the road then. Yeah. I better light the candle then. I'll do it for you, Chrissie. Here, look, I'll take her now. Thanks. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Elizabeth. Happy birthday to you. Thanks. Blow out the candle. Make a wish. Why was she born so beautiful? Why was she born? Sorry.
I thought you might like a photograph of Elizabeth.
Oh, thanks.
Hello, Miss
No,
Bennett.
I'm not the greatest
Mrs. Bennett.
photographer, but you're not supposed to make mistakes with these.
Rather a nice idea of Meg's, don't you think?
And we better have another one just to be on the safe side.
Yeah?
Oh, thanks, Mrs. Morris.
Take a while for these to develop properly.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Chrissie. It's time to go.
Can I carry her out, please?
Bye, Elizabeth.
Well, all right, the fun's over. Move out.
That really must have made your day, Vera.
Weissman, right, sir. Morning.
She's got a good appetite. The only thing she won't come at is mashed apples straight. But if you put a bit of honey with it or sugar, she likes to be sung to sleep. She's a good kid. All you've got to do is talk to her, you know? She understands everything.
I'll take her now, Chrissie.
Oh, here we go.
It's quite straightforward. The department states categorically that I'm in charge of security and the overall running of Wentworth.
But it does not state that you have the final say in the women's personal problems, their offences or punishment.
Unless, of course, it conflicts with security.
Oh, Dr. Weissman, you know Mr. Gillespie.
Yes, Doctor.
Yes, how are you? I was hoping to get back to you earlier, but it wasn't easy breaking down the barriers that Griffin's family have put up. At least I have a better idea now of what I'm dealing with.
Dealing with?
Yes, Griffin told me she had a tutor until she was about 14. She kept saying her parents thought it was because she was special, but she couldn't remember why. Apparently, they didn't want her mixing with other children because she had a mental problem. Aggression, violence, blackouts, and extreme imagination.
And they hired a tutor. What about medical help?
Well, like a lot of parents, they refused to admit there was anything wrong. It was because she was special, difficult. They're a wealthy, important family. They couldn't cope with society knowing that they had a difficult child, so they covered it up. They thought she'd outgrown the problem by the time she was about 14. But from her record and what I've since learned, I'd say we've possibly got a very sick woman on our hands.
The women would like some after tea. You can take it to the kitchen. I'll be back in 5 minutes.
How'd they turn out?
She's beautiful.
Yeah. Can I have them then? Because they're mine.
No, they're not. Why do you want Megan's photos?
Megan? But that's Elizabeth. Come on, quit fooling around.
Don't you touch them. They're mine.
You give them to me, you silly bitch.
You're not going to take her away from me.
Let me have them, your brain in the zone. I'll kill you if you don't give them to me. Get away from me.
She was going to kill me.
Mr. Gillespie's going to be very pleased to hear about this, Latham.
Chrissie was provoked, Mrs. Davidson.
For crying out loud, she's off her scone, and no one's doing a damn thing about it.
Quiet, Smith. What were you doing in here?
Just something I forgot to do.
Get her back to the laundry, Miss Bennett. I won't have prisoners wandering around at will.
Come on, Smith.
If you don't do something about that nutcase, someone else will.
Please, Mrs. Davidson, don't let him put me in the pound.
I don't think that will be necessary, do you, Mr. Gillespie?
As far as I'm concerned, you're a security risk, Latham. And as such, you'll be moved to A block. And I don't think this will look too good to the parole board either, do you?
You bastard.
Chrissie.
Griffin, come with me, please.
I'll say anything you want. Don't punish me, please.
I managed to contact your husband, Anne. He said you only married him to escape your family. Why? Why escape?
I love my family.
And did you love your husband, too?
Yes.
And yet you left him for a younger man. And you had Megan by this man.
She died.
And you thought you were being punished for leaving your husband. You felt guilty. And so you left Megan's father, too.
He was always punishing me.
Who was, Anne?
He'd lock me in my room for hours.
The last time I was here, you said your tutor used to lock you in your room. For telling lies.
Her parents wouldn't believe me. It was so dark in there. So small. I couldn't breathe.
Your room was dark, small?
Oh, the cupboard. It was the cupboard. I had to stay in there until I did as I was told.
How old were you?
5 or 6. He thought I was alone, but I wasn't. I had Megan to talk to. She didn't care if I didn't do as I was told or I got angry. She was my friend. She understood.
But your parents didn't, though, did they? They thought you were different. They wouldn't let you play with anyone. That made you angry. But you weren't allowed to show that you were angry, were you, Anne? You had to keep it bottled up, otherwise you'd be punished.
Don't do this, don't do that. Oh, Mummy won't love me unless I'm good.
Do you know why you're in here, Anne?
I didn't do anything.
You demanded money from someone at knife point. Don't you remember?
A family gives me an allowance. I don't need any money.
Yes, but money makes you angry too, doesn't it? It means having a tutor. You wanted to escape your family. You didn't want their money anymore. But you had to get some, somehow.
I'm innocent.
All the lies, denying her guilt, she actually believes what she says. It's like there are 2 different Annes. One's violent, aggressive. That's the side which shows itself when Anne's under pressure, afraid, or can't fight for herself. Or whenever she feels hate. The other is the gentle, timid woman. That's basically the real Anne. Although the other side is just as real. Anne simply doesn't admit to herself that it's there. When she was a child, she wasn't allowed to express any of those emotions. If she did, she was punished. It seems the 2 things that spark off Anne's other self are a fear of rules and a feeling of rejection. Both represent being locked in that cupboard. But perhaps with treatment, we might be able to bring the 2 personalities closer together, get some sort of balance. But it'll take time. Come along, Anne.
What you looking for? You weren't thinking of eating and running, were you? Miss Bryant?